RoboCop. Hey, welcome to the franchise. It's your boy, the Detroit, Daniel Ehrenberg. That's right. Spending time in Michigan this year. A lot of time. We spent time in American Pie Land, Grand Rapids, a.k.a. Great Falls, Michigan. And now here we are right in the heart of future Detroit. And,
That's true.
yeah. Are there any other Michigan films that we could cover on the podcast? 8 Mile, unfortunately. There's no 9 Mile.
No, there's no 9 miles. You know, one of the things about this show that's very nice is we get to kind of travel around the country. We get to
And indeed the world.
and indeed the world. Sure.
And the galaxy sometimes.
Yeah, that is a good point.
Sometimes we're in a galaxy far, far away.
That we are. We get to go to Detroit. We get to go to Haddonfield, Illinois. We've been all over Illinois. We've done Chicago for The Fugitive.
That's right.
We've been to New Jersey. We've been to L.A. We've been to New York many times. You know, it's fun. So we're in Detroit right now.
You want to keep going?
Huh?
Where are they in Fletch Lives? What stupid state is that?
Oh, man. Isn't that like, that's in the South?
Yeah, it's some bullshit. They're on like a plantation in that movie.
Yeah, it's awful. The first Fletch were in L.A., that's for sure. But yeah, welcome to the franchise, everybody. It's episode 225.
Yeah, you never said your name.
That's right. It's HD209.
Oh,
And,
that's pretty good, buddy.
Yeah, welcome everybody. We're finishing up our RoboCop stuff with RoboCop 3 and RoboCop Remade 2014.
We're saying a fond farewell to Peter Weller's undercarriage of his face, and we are saying hello to our new RoboCops, Robert John Burke, who of course you'll remember as Chuck's grandfather on Gossip Girl, and also Joel Kinnaman, who you'll remember from his, just charismatic, so memorable role as that dude who was writing a book about Kevin Spacey on House of Cards.
Is that what he did?
Yeah, remember that?
No.
He was on that show for like a couple seasons.
I saw the first 2 seasons of that.
Oh, you never kept going on Cards?
No,
There was a whole
out.
arc, dude, forever, where Joel Kinnaman was like shadowing Francis or whatever the fuck.
I don't remember that.
And he was writing a book about him.
Actually.
And then I think maybe he had an affair with Neck Hall.
Okay, sure. It's a good affair to have. I actually checked out of that coincidentally right around the time all that shit came with Spacey. That show just
I think you had hopped out before that, Henry, and I think you deserve a little bit of credit.
Did I deserve a little bit of credit?
Yeah, for jumping off before everyone hopped off with the Spacey train.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I did jump off pretty early, but with the you're right. With that show, it just got too fucking ridiculous. I mean, that show's completely in my wheelhouse. It's
what are you talking about, Henry? Do you think my show is ridiculous?
Do you remember when you put out that fucking YouTube video?
You mean the video where I reminded you that I'm still alive and I will come back someday as the House Majority Whip?
What a psychopath. Jesus fucking Christ, man. How far we fall. Yeah.
Should we cover RoboCop 3? It's one of my all-time favorite films.
Yeah, I say we do that because Joel Kinnaman has an accent in every time he plays it.
We're not talking about Joel Kinnaman. We're about to talk about Robert John Burke.
I know, but I just want to point it out.
No, see, he doesn't have that accent and everything, Henry, and I'm going to bring something up right now. All right, Joel Kinnaman, there are people that like this guy. There are people that think he's a good actor, right?
He's all right, yeah.
Yeah, I used to think he's all right, too, and then I realized something.
What's that?
He did this accent in The Killing, okay? Because he's
exactly.
playing, he's like, I'm a lowlife. I'm going to talk a little bit from the streets.
Yeah.
And he's good in The Killing. He reminded me a lot of like our friend Josh Coffey if he became a cop. You know, sort of preternaturally cool. And then I saw House of Cards, all right? And he's not doing that voice. He's being straight-laced. and boy, is he a blank slate. Just a bore.
Is that right?
And then I see him in this RoboCop again.
Mm-hmm.
And here he is. It's back.
Yeah. Well, what I
You think they
immediately
asked
thought
him? You think he showed up, used his actual voice, and they're like, ooh, you sound like that?
No, I have a theory. It occurred to me real quick into the movie. I think he's got Ryan Gosling syndrome. I think
you might
he
be right.
has,
He needs to do a voice. Like JGL syndrome.
Yeah, right. But like, but it's more to me like Gosling because Kinnaman's Swedish, and Gosling's Canadian. So when they do an American, they feel like they got to latch on to a particular region. So Gosling chose Brooklyn, and Kinnaman has chosen Street. And I think we're going to see more of it with Kinnaman.
A lot of Canadians, by the way, in that RoboCop remake. I was surprised to hear so many Detroit City officials speaking with Canadian accents.
Oh my God, dude! The fucking it's either the president of the United States, no, the general that when
yes, yeah, and he's just like, you can't be attacking the United States, eh? It's fucking ridiculous.
Robots are good without, though. Yeah, it's funny. But we'll get there. We'll get there. It's not all bad.
No, I gotta tell you, my grades for both of these films are live today.
Oh.
They could go any which way, baby.
My grades, I don't know that they're live, but let's say for this franchise, I've done something that doesn't happen too much for such a short franchise. I've run the entire gamut of star ratings, even though there's only 4 and we do 5-star ratings.
I have big problems with both of the movies we're going to cover today, and I was absolutely engaged by both of them and enjoyed the experience of watching them.
So did I.
Great.
Same here. Yeah. That
all right.
does not connotate a positive review, listeners, just so you know.
I guess. But I gotta say, I'll say it right now, I think both of these movies are more worthwhile than RoboCop 2.
100% agree. And I never thought I'd think that.
No, me neither. I always thought I looked at my Letterboxd ratings from before I rewatched these, and I had given RoboCop 2 a 3, like from my original viewing, and I had given this like a 1 or something.
Yeah. Okay, not gonna happen.
No, that's bullshit.
Yeah,
I was wrong.
You were wrong.
Wrong. Yeah. All right. RoboCop 3. We've got they started filming this baby like right after RoboCop 2, but Orion went bankrupt, and so the release got delayed, unfortunately.
Yeah, the big Orion debacle.
I feel like studios were dropping left and right in the early 90s.
Is that right? Was just Miramax on the rise, or what was going on?
I feel like 80s excess, Henry. They were just spending too much.
Yeah, you're probably right.
That's what happened with Caralco. They get like one big hit, like, oh my God, Terminator, we made like $1 billion. And then they think they could do it again, but they can't. It was a fluke. You were lucky to have that goateed fucking idiot. James Cameron.
Oh, please. One show without his name.
I read that Avatar 2's done filming. It's all post now.
Well, that would be easy to film because there's nothing you need to do outside of a computer console.
I read an interview with Kate Winslet where she says that she did some work for the Avatar sequels. She will be playing a water lady. All right?
The Shape of Avatar.
She says Cameron was much more pleasant to work with this time around than in Titanic.
Oh, I'm glad she got a little dig in there, a little passive-aggressive dig.
Yeah. All right, so we've got a new... Frank Miller, by the way, back to right, which I forgot.
Yeah.
Couldn't believe his name was in the credits again.
I know, I was worried. Yeah.
All right, but we have a new director who I think is a lot more simpatico in terms of their sort of styles and worldviews.
Yeah, I agree. He's not like completely out of the It felt like in two, Irvin Kershner just kind of wandered onto the set on his way to another movie, and they just needed the body, and he was like, yeah, okay.
You better
You know, I
believe it. So we get Fred Decker, Henry,
yeah, Fred Deck.
a guy whose career has been propped up for the last 30 years by his friendship with Shane Black.
I noticed.
I mean, he would have been deleted from Hollywood decades ago.
He'd have been swiped on left. Yeah, you're right. It seems like his buddyship has just kind of kept him afloat.
Yeah, they were like college roommates or something, and so they wrote Night of the Creeps and The Monster Squad together, which are both directed by Fred Decker. And after RoboCop 3's enormous failure, Decker was pretty much like blacklisted from Hollywood, and now Shane Black's got him back. If you recall, he does have a writing credit on that Shane Black Predator movie.
I saw that. I checked that. Yeah, which was terrible, but at least he's around. Good for him.
I guess.
He did not. I guess he was not part of the nice guys.
No, I mean, that's Shane Black solo, man. Anytime like you see a Shane Black movie and you're like, oh, this is good, he did it on his own.
Yeah, right. Yeah, fair point.
Yeah. All right, so this film was released November 5th, 1993. Strange release date.
Yeah, election day.
I mean, the other two were released like Heart of Summer. Why are they putting this baby out in the fall?
I don't think they had much faith. I really don't.
But why not? They did, though. You know what? That's bullshit, because I own hundreds of comic books with RoboCop 3 ads inside of them. So they must have been advertising this movie for fucking months.
Really?
Yeah.
And I have a bunch of Batmans from 92, so I bet you they're in those.
This is
I
93,
don't remember.
93, my friend.
No. But I mean, they would have probably been advertising in those years. I don't remember them, but yeah, interesting. Okay.
Constantly.
No,
It was not like hidden. I feel like for months, it was like the back page. Like the front cover, and then you turn it over, there's RoboCop.
That's funny. Yeah, I remember very little about this movie being a thing or coming out at all, and I mean I was in high school, but
you know what? Maybe it's because I was a kid, and they marketed this one way more to kids.
Clearly, yes, as shown in the product.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, yeah.
All right. Budget of $22 million, and it ended up making a mere 10.6. Henry.
Ouch.
Yeah, really bad. It came in at number 107 at the box office for that year. It made slightly less money than Ted Turner's Gettysburg.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. And slightly more money than The Dark Half, which was kind of a failure.
I saw both of those in theater.
You saw Gettysburg in theater? Of course you did. Who am I asking?
Yeah.
Did you see Gods and Generals in theaters?
No. Gettysburg, I have since rewatched, and yes, it is not bad at all. It's got some great stuff in it, but it is still putting Robert E. Lee on a pedestal. Now, by the time Gods and Generals came out, I was an educated man and knew better than to go see a Southern Confederacy movie about how they won the Civil War. So I had no interest.
It's like not even a movie, right? It's like, you know how they do those Civil War reenactments?
Yeah, no, it's hagiography.
It's just that. Like if they filmed one, like if they hired like a professional camera crew to film one of those Civil War reenactments, would it be any better or worse than that Gettysburg movie?
Well, Gettysburg has some cool stuff just because it's got some great actors in it. And it's got I can't remember who directed that.
Oh, some fucking Ted Turner, not like he just like hired a friend.
Yeah. But I mean,
I guarantee you, look, whoever directed Gettysburg, you look that person up and they've made tremendous contributions to the Trump campaign. I guarantee you.
Oh, I'm sure you're probably right. You're probably right. I think we're going to get a good Civil War thing going on. Well, pre-Civil War with this new Ethan Hawke Showtime movie. That should be interesting about John Brown.
That'll be interesting. Hey, by the way, this fella who directed Gettysburg and Gods and Generals, he hasn't.
He did both?
Yeah, he directed both.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
I will tell you two things about him. One, he's a franchise all-star, having directed that franchise as well as 1986's The Parent Trap 2 with Haley Mills, which I have seen. And also, he directed a film that I love, 1980's Little Darlings, which is a very underrated coming-of-age film about girls at camp trying to lose their virginities.
Oh, that's up your alley? Yeah.
Not up theirs, though, yet.
Uh-oh. Yeah, I didn't see that. Yeah, Gettysburg's just, I don't know.
I love that we're just spending time on this RoboCop podcast opining about Gettysburg.
Yeah. It's time for a pro-North Civil War movie. I think this country would be nice to acknowledge that part of the...
They did that. It was called fucking Lincoln, bitch.
Yeah, but there's no battle time. You know, everything we get. Glories, we're riding on 31 years ago with glory. That's
but that one singular tear falling down Denzel's cheek, that's all we need.
It's a great scene.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great scene.
It sure is. God, Denzel, man. I just watched The Preacher's Wife. That's a fucking good movie.
Is it really?
Yeah.
The original's nice. Did you ever see The Bishop's Wife?
The Bishop's Wife? I don't think I have, actually.
Oh, God. Mr. Christmas over here?
I know.
I think it's my mother's favorite Christmas
I am
movie.
Mr. Christmas, but I don't like a lot of those old, like, really early Christmas movies. Like, I've watched, like, The Bells of St. Mary's and shit. I'm not into it.
The Bishop's Wife is good. I actually like that, and I'm not into that shit at all. But The Bishop's Wife's good. You got your Cary Grant. You got that lady, Loretta Young.
All right, well, in this, you've got your Denzel.
Whitney.
You've got your Whitney. You've got your Courtney B. Vance, baby.
Bobby Brown show up in that?
He does not.
Okay.
He does not. Well, he does in spirit, because a couple of times Whitney is sweating for no reason in that movie, and I'm like, something's happening.
Does he play Clarence the Angel, and he just gives her...
It's actually Dudley the Angel in that film.
Dudley the Angel just gives her some coke every once in a while.
Yeah.
All right, RoboCop. Hey, the music's back, kinda.
It is. Wait, I'm not done with the stats, Henry.
Oh, sorry.
Can we hear that Saturn Awards theme?
Fuck, man. Sure. Absolutimondo.
You have that pulled up? You know, I will say it was nice to have the music back. Like, really nice. And then, in the remake, they, like, did, like, an orchestral version of the music, and I thought it worked.
Oh, I agree.
I was into it. They had, like, the Prague Symphony doing the RoboCop theme.
Oh, yeah, you're right. No, it was like a big orchestral thing there going on. Oh, boy. Be nice if I had that up.
Yeah, how close are you to finding that Saturn Awards theme?
Real close.
What else has Basil Polidoris done?
Saturn is between Uranus and Neptune. Saturn, whoa, sci-fi best of films.
Well worth the wait, and I just put up a Patreon episode where we covered the Saturn Awards, which combined the years 1989 and 1990. So patreon.com/the franchise. If you're on the $5 tier, you can listen to that. Hey.
All right. Yeah.
All right. So Saturn Awards. It was nominated for a couple.
Okay.
All right. You know, now it was nominated for the best science fiction film of the year, Henry. It did not win. It lost to Jurassic Park.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Nancy Allen was nominated for Best Supporting Actress for coming back to be killed, like Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween Resurrection.
Of course.
And she lost to Amanda Plummer for Needful Things, which I've never seen, but I love Amanda Plummer.
Oh, that's right. This has come up before. I
has?
can't believe that you haven't seen Needful Things. It's one of the better Stephen King movies.
All right, I'll watch it. Leave me alone.
I'm just surprised. You'll get there on your 50-year rewatch project.
Probably not. I mean, have never seen it in the first place.
I have a question about your rewatch project. Some of these things are not rewatches. Clearly, I'm seeing you on Letterboxd. Like some of them are brand new to you, right? They're not all
The
rewatches, right?
ones on the list are rewatches. Anytime I'm watching something for the first time, it's like, just separate from that. I just wanted to watch that.
Okay. Yeah. So okay. I wasn't sure because some of the stuff you're putting up, I'm like, he's seen this movie. I know he's seen this movie, but you like entered it as you just watched it.
Well, sometimes I do like to watch movies I've seen already.
Yeah, absolutely. You and I have flipped places. I almost never rewatch anything now, and you rewatch a lot.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah, that's all I did for like
yeah,
10
but you
years.
would rewatch the same shit over and over again. I'm watching stuff I don't know that well.
Yeah, but I also did it because I didn't have cable for a really long time or streaming. All I had was my collection.
I know.
That's actually the truth. So
I remember. Yeah. All right, so RoboCop 3. Let's start. Delta City. It opens on one of these fake ads that we like so much in the RoboCop franchise.
Yes,
and it's for a gated community called Delta City for your children.
For the children. we get the broadcaster back.
Yeah, the same one. I like his name is Casey Wong, which I think is interesting as he is not an Asian man.
Man, I like him. He's perfect for this role.
He is good. But in the movie, is this the movie where, like, at one point the female broadcaster gets killed or she quits on air?
I was just trying to remember that myself. Yes, this is when she walks off set.
That's the kind of moment that would work really well in a comic book if you've been cutting back to these people since, like, issue 1.
Yeah.
But like, I liked that moment, but I felt like it could have been much more effective if, like, we had seen more of those broadcasters.
Well, I agree, and also it might have been more effective if it was him.
Because we know him better.
Yeah, I don't know her, just a new one. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I think this movie questions whether men have morals. It's usually women making the good decisions in these movies.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Right.
And, who knows? Frank Miller and Fred Dekker both have weird gender stuff that we maybe don't want to get into, so...
Yeah, definitely Frank Miller, that's for sure. However, he did make a female Robin.
I mean, yeah, he did. He did. Carrie,
right.
All right. So what's happening here is Detroit is cordoning off these gated communities to try and improve the city. And so they are evicting poor people, which basically equates to minorities. And, and these are issues the movie actually gets into.
Yes, it does. It actually does. It doesn't shy away at all from showing that the people who they're kicking out, they are white as well, which was kind of nice too. They're just showing poor people as a whole swath of ethnicities, but they're black.
I appreciated that the head of the crew was the great CCH Pounder,
black woman.
Yeah,
very cool, and I liked her reveal.
Yeah,
they teach her in the beginning sort of like she's just like this homeless person, and then all of a sudden she rips off her hood and then rallies everybody. I mean, it has a goofy tone in terms of just the way it's kind of. It's not really directed that sure-handedly, I thought, or it doesn't, or the look of it. It's a weird look, but it.
But to me, this felt like a lesser director doing a solid cover version of Paul Verhoeven, whereas the second movie, it felt like Irvin Kershner didn't get the first movie.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. I feel like. One of the things that this movie overall, I think this movie fails, but I do think it's really trying back for the first one, but it still doesn't get a lot. I mean, it's like the whole thing is like Paul Verhoeven is just such a singular, unique, bizarro, sui generis director that trying to remake something of his is it's a bizarre exercise. Like it's not. I don't know that it can work.
It's not a remake, man. It's doing other shit. I mean, listen, it's clearly trying.
the germ of the idea and the way it's carried out in the first movie is just something that's extremely hard to replicate and continue even as a sequel. It's just
No, Henry, we're in agreement. There should never have been sequels to that movie.
Right. Yeah.
That movie should stand on its own, and it does. And as much as I'm going to say nice things about these two RoboCop movies today, I recommend people watch that first one and none of the others.
I agree.
But I do think that he's making a genuine effort to harken back to the first one. And I remember when this movie came out, and people were so fucking harsh about the rating, how they toned it down to a PG-13 to appeal to kids, and there's a lot less gore and a lot less violence. But that didn't necessarily bother me because there's so much else that it's doing right in terms of doing well by the original, by bringing back Basil Polidoris' score, by making it a little goofier, by actually talking about like social issues. I mean, and also, by the way, by just populating the cast with great character actors.
I liked Jill Hennessy.
I fucking love Jill Hennessy. I never realized how much I loved Jill Hennessy until recently.
Yeah, I don't know.
She showed up on that City on a Hill on Showtime. She plays Kevin Bacon's wife on that show, who is maybe interested in having an affair with her priest. Pretty good. And she's wonderful. She's the best part of the show.
Yeah, I was not really expecting to think that her character would be any good, but she is, and she's really good in it, and she's so committed. I really dug her in this movie, and I know what you mean about that because I also appreciated, and I know he's in 2. But I just love this guy who plays the sergeant. He's fucking great.
Yeah, that guy's all right.
Robert Ducoy, I think, is his name.
That sounds good.
Sounds good. Yeah, Robert Ducoy, Sergeant Warren Reed. He's great. Dude, the cast in this is no joke. I mean, you got Jill Hennessy, CCH Pounder, you got Stephen Root showing up.
Stephen Root, fantastic. He gets to a death scene.
It's great. He gets a heel turn, man.
He does get a fucking heel turn.
You get Rip Torn. You get
wait, you're going through this. Wait, you get fucking Rip Torn in this movie. So, listen, if you want to talk shit about RoboCop 3, I need you to just sit back and reckon with the fact that Rip Torn is in this movie.
Yeah, I agree. I was really blown away by the caliber of people in this movie. I was just like, wow, all right. So, and I think, honestly, I really do think that helps hugely.
It's enormous. It's enormous. You need that. RoboCop 2 is nothing. You're just spending time with Peter Weller.
Who's got 300,000 character arcs. And in this one, just by having the presence of Rip Torn and Bradley Whitford and CCH Pounder,
fucking Whitford playing a heel in this movie, not altering the tone of his performance one iota from his villain character in Billy Madison, which I adored.
He plays a heel really, really well.
He's playing a character named Fleck, and that's how he plays it, just sort of like a bug on your fucking face.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And I love, there's actually a sequence between him and Jill Hennessy.
I literally wrote down woo during I was so excited for that one-on-one sequence with Brad Whitford and Jill Hennessy.
And it doesn't disappoint.
No.
And there's literally
it's like fucking De Niro and Pacino in Heat.
And there's actually some exchange where he calls her Dr. Lazarus, and I love that name. Great name, Lazarus.
Yeah, perfect
name. And she
works for Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah. You know, she raises people from the dead. Very subtle, Lazarus. And she calls him immediately back Mr. Fleck. And so you literally right there have she is Lazarus and he's Fleck.
Can you imagine if a movie named the villain Lazarus and the hero Fleck? Is that possible?
I don't know if Fleck is possible. One of your favorite movies, the hero, the villain is named Fleck.
Oh God, He's not the hero, you piece of shit.
I didn't say he's a hero. I hesitated. The victim?
No.
The protagonist?
No, it's the empty center of a shitty movie. How about Jeff Garlin?
Oh my god, that was hilarious.
Could you believe he was in more than one scene?
He did? I thought that was like going to be like a throwaway. Oh, here's
Yeah,
I'm getting my start.
he plays a pizza guy, right? And like his store is being held up.
Yeah.
And that's
Right.
it. But then he comes back.
Comes back, man. Garland, what was he doing? Was he like doing stand up or something?
Oh yeah, I think he was just like performing at the Comedy Store at this time.
That's good. Yeah. It occurred to me too. I had this weird thought. I was like, so this is 93. Seinfeld was on the air. I just had this abstract, stupid thought. I was like, I wonder if Garland was friends with Larry David yet.
I don't think so. I mean, maybe. They might have seen each other at clubs and shit.
Yeah. Like, I don't know how far that goes back.
I have no idea, actually. I shouldn't have
Yeah.
answered so confidently.
Well, I don't know. But anyway, yeah. So the nice thing is we kind of get Murphy as having a personality, which is refreshing. Robert John Burke is okay.
He's fine, man. Come on.
You know, it reminded me of one of the reasons I think I liked Peter Weller so much, which I forgot to mention on last week's episode, was that Peter Weller is literally like a shrimp. He's like a skinny, like he follows that 80s model of not being a Stallone or Schwarzenegger in that era and just being kind of like a normal looking guy. And I dug that. Not that Burke is like some buff guy, and I got nothing against him.
Burke
He's
is
like a
formidable,
big dude.
though. He's tall.
Yeah, and that takes a little something away from it, but I don't know.
Well, but I feel like that's the vibe they're going for in this movie. Peter Weller played the humanity of RoboCop way more, whereas Robert John Burke is kind of playing him as a superhero. But I kind of think that's just what the movie is. I don't know if that's like Robert John Burke's choice.
Yeah, no, probably.
I mean,
not.
as it stands, he's just like a fucking indie guy. He's like a Hal Hartley actor, and he's playing RoboCop in this fucking movie. I think he's just doing whatever they want him to.
That's true. And we forgot to mention another major kind of guy actor too, who I feel like we covered in something, but that Japanese actor Mako.
Yeah, he's shown up and stuff. I gotta tell you, if the one part of this movie that truly did not work for me for a single second is like this like robot ninja stuff.
Yeah, I know. I feel like what was going on there was pretty obvious. I think that they were going for Terminator 2 villain stuff. They wanted a villain that broke in half and came back together.
Well, yes, definitely. But also, like, Decker, I read an interview where he was saying, like, he loves martial arts movies, and so that's why he wanted to incorporate that in this. And, I mean...
It's not even martial arts. He just pulls out a fucking sword and just chops shit.
Well, I think Fred Decker is not really a strong director. I think he's I think he's okay. Like, I don't think he's bad. I've seen Monster Squad. That's a pretty good movie.
Oh yeah,
okay. Yeah, but I just think like he had an idea to do martial arts in this movie, and ultimately he went as far as getting an Asian man, and that's about it.
That was his stretch.
Yeah,
he got Mako and some big dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that big dude, Otomo. That guy. That villain sucks.
Yeah, he's no good. I had a 3-way tie for my LVP in this movie, but I might lean for him. But we'll get to my other two.
You want to talk about him now?
Sure. You know, I just look. RoboCop 2. We had a kid who was abominable. This time we get a Moppet with 4 feet of hair. He's not necessarily the worst kid actor I've seen at all, but boy, do we always feel a need to throw in a little kid who might be a genius
I
savant.
know. I hate genius kids. They don't exist. Kids are stupid.
I agree.
They're all dumb.
Yeah,
Look,
dumb.
I could talk to the smartest kid, and like I am way smarter than him. Like he's a fucking idiot.
Yes, I agree. You know,
Or she.
Right. Maybe they can hack into something. Maybe they have.
No, they can't. They can't fucking do that. I am so sick of little kid hackers.
Yeah, they don't know what they're doing.
They were a dime a dozen. He reprograms an Ed 209 at the beginning of this movie. Fun to see the Ed 209s back, but then it's like they make him into like a puppy dog, so it's like a cute sidekick Ed 209.
Yeah. It just the kid is just it. You know, nothing against the little actor fella, but the kid is just. He's kind of annoying because there's a lot of him. I mean, if there was a little less, I wouldn't mind. But he's got a whole parental thing going on there with Robo.
Oh, I liked the dad.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
He's only at the beginning of the movie, I think, but I recognize that actor from stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He has a. Yeah, he's got his family gets separated from him when they're.
He's got one of those faces. You know those like guys that have like faces that look like they're made of like cinder blocks? It's like J.O. Sanders or Abraham Ben Ruby. These guys.
J.O. Sanders. Yeah. No, he was all right. He gets separated from his family in Cadillac Heights. Good title for a.
Hell yeah, bro.
I like that name for a shitty neighborhood.
Well, because Detroit's obsessed with cars.
Right. That's true. I didn't even think of that.
Did you ever notice that, you know the Detroit Red Wings?
Yeah.
You know how their logo's a big wing?
With a wheel on it, right?
Yeah, I didn't notice that wheel until like a couple years ago.
Really?
I've been watching hockey my whole life, and I'm like, holy shit, it's a wheel.
Funny. and I haven't been watching hockey my whole life, but I paid attention to that just because I know the geopolitical
Motor City, baby.
Yeah, I know all that shit. Yeah. Red Wings. Right. Yeah, so Cadillac Heights gets cleared out, and then we get one of several villains. We get a completely. I have no idea why he's British, but he's the head of the sweeping Omni cop, the rehab guys, right? He's a British guy.
Yeah.
He's not bad. It's just a weird. He's one of those villains. He reminded me of the Aussie in Deep Blue 3.
Deep Blue 3? They should have called it Deep Blue 3.
Yeah. Maybe you got a bigger audience. And he was a contender for me, just on not the actor, but I mean he has like I think I don't know, like Rip Torn is a little at sea here because he's not in the movie very much, and he's not really a bad guy. He's just kind of this.
He's working for the bad guys, but he's he's a little bit like the old man in the first movie.
Yes, you can't really read if he's fully evil yet, and then right, it's true. He's just kind of a what would your word would be, a cuck?
He's a switch hitter.
Yeah. But so I guess really the bad guy's the British fella.
Yeah, and I did not like him either. He's my LVP. RoboCop really does, because the main character is almost entirely faceless, and because like he doesn't have much of a personality except for like figuring out who he is, and by this point he knows well and truly who he fucking is. Right. So there's no character arc left to do with RoboCop. So the movie's gonna live and die on its villains, and yeah, you've got Rip Torn, who's great. You've got Brad Whitford, who's great. Is he Bradley yet? I keep calling him Brad Whitford because early in his career he was credited as Brad in a lot of shit.
I think he's Bradley, but I don't know.
But
you've got the Japanese samurai.
Maybe that's my LVP. Yeah, that's my LVP. But I mean, this guy doesn't work either. He's just not a very compelling villain, and he's probably got the most screen time of any of the villains.
Yeah, I guess well, the British guy I think has more, but he is in.
No, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, no, he's got a lot of screen time, and I mean, I think he's good in certain scenes. Like I think when he's in that shitty hotel, and he like that's his headquarters, and he's in there like just like drinking, and that's
Yeah,
kind
and
of
his
funny.
comeuppance was good. The scene where he's sort of like being carried away, like dragged away on the ground. That's a good shot.
Yeah. Not bad. But yeah, I mean, essentially, the arc of the movie is that these underground folks live underground, and they get
They're like the
RoboCop.
Morlocks from the X-Men.
That's right, and they get RoboCop and Nancy Allen essentially start to defend them in front of a church. Then Nancy Allen gets shot and killed, and the underground takes RoboCop in to fix him because in one of my favorite superhero tropes, RoboCop is pretty much indestructible, but if that certain bullet hits that one certain part, man, he's down for the count. And
Well, I don't understand why people don't just aim for his mouth.
I don't either. It occurs to me the entire time. I'm just like, can anyone hit his face?
Yeah, just shoot his teeth out.
I would think that would slow him down.
Yeah.
We get him down to the underground,
And they're able to get Hennessy down there somehow.
Yeah, they get Hennessy down there, and another really fun actor.
The actress, not the liquor.
You're right. There's another actor down there who I really like, who we've seen before. He's in Basic Instinct, and he turns up a lot. He's the mechanic in this, who's kind of working on him a lot. The
What's
bald
the
guy.
actor's name?
He's not. I'm looking right now, and I don't really see if he got a good.
Wait, I think I
credit.
do know who you're
You know who
talking
I mean,
about.
though.
Yeah, he's sort of like a low life. In every movie, he's like that little short guy. He talks like this.
Well, he's got a big role in Basic Instinct, and he turns up occasionally. He's just a really good character actor. He's with the whole Stephen Root crew.
All right.
I can find his name.
Nah, I don't care that much.
Yeah, but he's really good. So yet another good actor. But I like the underground crew. That could have gone very wrong as well, because you could have had a lot of like horrible actors down there in that whole Resistance, and it could have just been like really corny and everything. But they keep it kind of simple, and you're just kind of stuck with CCH and Jill Hennessy and Stephen Root, and it works. And the guy with the baseball cap, and you throw in that stupid kid, and that whole thing kind of works. But it is
it works a lot. Listen, I usually hate like discovering underground communities and stuff. So I had to stop watching The Walking Dead because I was sick of them finding fucking underground communities all the time.
Every season with that shit.
But this was okay. I mean, it was silly, but like the movie's kind of silly.
Yeah, I mean, because I was worried too I wasn't worried because it was going into RoboCop 3. My expectations were fucking dirt low. But so when I saw the PG-13, I was like, oh boy, not only is this going to be bad, but I don't even get any fucking violence or swearing. But it really doesn't matter. You're kind of not really thinking about it. It's just such a step up from the second one.
I totally agree. Can I talk about the underground community that I liked even more than this one?
Yeah, and then you got to talk about the jetpack.
Sure. All right, Henry. Can I just say something to you?
Mm-hmm.
Papa Trank, Hypo Head, Splatterville is ours. All right, there's a group of street punks in this movie called the Splatter Punks.
Yeah, that's great.
Nancy
That's
Allen.
Frank Miller. That's
Frank. Big time. This is right out of Dark Knight Returns.
Yes, it is.
And they're just like these they're the mutants, basically.
Yeah, they're the mutants, 100%. The way they look. Yeah.
They're the Splatter Punks, and they're great. They meet up with RoboCop at one point. They start just throwing 40s at him. Like that's their weapon of choice. They're just like whipping bottles of St. Ides at RoboCop, and RoboCop's taking it, and then they set him on fire, which is baller. I fucking love these guys.
Yeah, they're great, and that's not a bad.
It reminded me of like the movie. It just like turned into Death Wish 3 for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, it did, and that's not a bad sequence when Nancy Allen and they're pursuing. Who are they pursuing? They're in a car chase, and they get thrown upside down, and RoboCop disobeys initiative. Right, he disobeys protocol to go help her. and they're trapped, like Nancy Allen and like 3 other cops, and that's when the splatter kids come around. And that's actually that's not a bad scene. Like they're in the middle of this very good set, this highway kind of emptiness.
Yeah, it's this like
outnumbered.
downtown area of Detroit or whatever.
It reminded me, that sequence, not in any way in the quality, but in the mood of what I just watched, The King of New York, where they have that awesome showdown with Caruso and Snipes and the villains in that, like, underneath the highways and all that shit.
Amazing.
Yeah, King of New
Snipes
York,
is a villain in that movie, right?
No. Snipes is a good guy.
Oh, he's a good guy in that?
Yeah. Caruso that movie's fucking great, man.
It is.
I can't believe that movie was not in my life for this long. I mean, it's absurd.
No, to me, like that run of like that Bad Lieutenant, Body Snatchers, that early '90s Abel Ferrara. I love all those movies.
Yeah, Bad Lieutenant's amazing. I don't know if I like this more than Bad Lieutenant, but I think I like it as much.
No, Bad Lieutenant's better. You're just like riding the high of it, but I mean, it's very, very good.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as insane as Bad Lieutenant. It's just, but it's
not really going for that though. It really is a lot about mood and tone.
Very much, and it's just like a tight, short cop drug lord movie. It's perfect. I love that movie. Anyway,
let's talk about the King of Detroit, Henry, RoboCop.
Yeah, that's right. So, what they turn around the plot on him, right? Isn't this is where they say RoboCop? The news is reporting that RoboCop is actually killing people, and that's when the news reporter walks off set. She doesn't believe it. RoboCop would never do that.
Well, it is like there's like, they're doing like state-run TV broadcasts and shit.
Yeah, like Fox type stuff.
Yeah, there's way more of that in the second one, in like a post-Fox. I mean, in the remake that we're going to talk about soon, because it's like a post-Fox world.
Yeah.
But I did like the very melodramatic moment when Nancy Allen dies, and you get to hear RoboCop just say, "Officer down."
It's so funny too, because when that happens, it's another weird moment where it's always like they're kind of struggling with RoboCop's the balance of his humanity and his machineness, his machinity, and I expected him to think or say more when that happens. It's like,
but he says so much in that one line, Henry. He's not just reporting that; he's feeling it.
Yeah, I know. His best friend, who's been with him for, however, if we want to if we'll follow the timeline of how they've been.
Yeah, they've known each other since the day before he died.
Yeah, right. But they've been partners for like 6 years now, and he fucking officer down is all he's got to say. But this kid, he's like, "Oh, that's my son. I will pat his head and help him go to sleep." It's like, okay, all right. I don't know, man. I feel like Nancy Allen might have been a slightly bigger part of your life, but
she's just there to die.
Yeah. God bless her. She looks great. Love Nancy.
She looks great.
Sure. I love her. I think
she's his own, I guess.
I think she's very sexy, Nancy Allen.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I do. She's got those pouty cheeks and that 80s hair. I love it. Yeah. Not a fan? Don't think she knows? Huh?
No, it'd be like fucking my great aunt or something.
Hey, in Blowout, she looks great.
She's all right. De Palma and I do not share a taste of women. I'm almost never attracted to the lead in Brian De Palma movies.
But it's always Nancy Allen, so
or who's the one from Dress to Kill?
No, you're right.
With the eyes too close together. Karen Allen. No, not Karen Allen.
No. Angie Dickinson is in Dress to Kill.
No, not Angie Dickinson either.
It's Nancy Allen in Dress to Kill.
You know who I'm talking about? Who's in Airport 75?
Like I remember.
Karen Black is who I'm talking
Karen
about.
Black?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm saying no, but I'm with you on like Carlito's Way. He gets Penelope Ann Miller. Yeah, he has odd taste. That's for sure.
All those Snake Eyes, baby. Carla Gugino. I'm down for that.
Who isn't? Yeah. Yeah. Nancy Allen, you're A+ in my book.
How about that scene at they're like at a corporate headquarters and people keep killing themselves? I loved that sequence.
It was very fun.
They show there's one sequence where they show a video phone facing the camera, and it's a wife just like yammering about how things are gonna get better, and behind the video phone you see her husband like preparing to kill himself, and then he just hops out the fucking window.
Yeah,
that's funny.
It is funny, and I kept expecting it to be a little bit overdone and ruined. I thought they'd throw in like a
real naggy wife. Yeah, it wasn't quite like that.
No. I didn't mean that. I'm sorry. I meant when he falls. I was expecting like a comic book, like
Oh, I would have been okay with that, but yeah, no.
No, he just falls. It's very dark, and then Bradley Whitford, fucking. He literally has a scene where he says, you know, oh, I'll be next or something, but you don't think he means it because he's very super confident. And then he gets fired, and then you hear a gunshot and he kills himself. I was a little disappointed they took Whitford out of the movie so quickly. Would have been nice to have him around.
Yeah.
He's kind of the Miguel Ferrer role.
Yeah, I agree. I was pretty sad anytime. Like, I was bummed when Root died, too.
Root's great, man. I mean, he that fucking actor is so good.
He's one of the best. He's perfect in everything.
He really is, and I'm ashamed to say that I don't think I really noticed him till Office Space. I mean, that was 21 years ago. I've been aware of him since, but I don't remember him in the 90s.
I was a real news radio head, man.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
And he played Jimmy James, the boss of the station.
All
right. When he dies, they go, if we let him live, we'd have had to pay him. I thought that was a great line.
It was, and it was also just so funny because it's a very predictable thing, but you know as soon as he gets in bed with the bad guys, he's not going to fucking live, so he's extremely stupid. Anyway, I don't know. What else is going on here?
Well, you know, towards the end of the movie, the freedom fighters gain more prominence because everyone realizes that they're doing the right thing, because they're like evicting people with like wrecking balls and shit. They're just like killing motherfuckers. Yeah. And so in the most unrealistic scene in the film, in a film that includes robots, I will say when the police officers all took a moral stand and dropped their badges and refused to work for the state, that would never happen.
That was a hard thing to believe.
Are you kidding me? They're gonna turn down their fucking pensions? I mean, there is no police officer in the world who would choose the right thing over their pension.
Especially in today's climate, that scene was really weird to watch.
That shit didn't work, buddy. I mean, I guess at the time you were like, you can't make the cops look that bad, but I'm sorry, the cops are that bad.
Yeah, and the funny part is, this is 93, man. They could have made the cops look that bad.
You're totally right. It's right after the fucking riots.
Exactly. That's exactly what went through my head, and I was like, oh, okay, sure. They'd drop everything to go help the poor people.
Do you think that they wrote this? You think this scene was written in by Frank Miller post LA riots, like as a Blue Lives Matter kind of?
Probably. I mean, the only thing I liked about it was seeing the sergeant kind of get some action time. That was nice. That was about it, you know. And
the black guy. They let him drop his badge first, which I was fine with. Like, they had done the work on that character to convince me that he would do that. But then when everyone else was like, you know, I am Spartacus and shit, like, fuck that.
Yeah, I know. I agree. And
all right, and then RoboCop gets a jetpack, and that's fun, and that's the end of the
movie. Yeah, he turns it. I'm sorry. All I thought of was, this is how my mind works. I'm watching him in the jetpack, and I'm going, boy, I bet he wishes he was Iron Man. Because it's so clunky and stupid and silly.
Yeah, nobody liked Iron Man back then. He wasn't a popular character.
No, it's true. But I was thinking, would I want to get a RoboCop suit with a clunky jetpack and barely be able to move? Or would I want to have nanotechnology and be able to think the suit on me and be as flexible as Iron Man?
Or, like, why doesn't he have those, like, foot propellers? You know how Iron Man can just like press a button and his feet push him up into the air?
And his hands, you know, he's got the hand thing.
Yeah, but whatever. It's a jetpack, man. Jetpacks are cool. Rocketeer.
Yes, yeah, Rocketeer. A couple years prior to this movie, yeah, we've seen Rocketeer. Decker's
Yeah,
seen
Decker's
Rocketeer.
like, that movie made no money, so let's put it in this movie too.
Do that. Let's do Terminator villain. Yeah, yeah. You know, the movie doesn't work, but it's not a horrific experience by any stretch of the
Totally
imagination.
watchable. Way more
Totally.
watchable than the second one. And if you try to argue otherwise, you're fucking wrong.
Yeah, I know, and
Because you
I
know what? You can't look at these RoboCop sequels like they're real movies. The only real movie's the first one. And I will say that the remake is making an attempt at being a real movie.
I mean the remake's a real movie.
Yeah.
It's just yeah. I mean these sequels are fucking throwaways.
They're
But,
silly.
you know,
They're silly. You can't judge them on any level other than whether they're entertaining to you. And I just can't imagine a person that would be more entertained by that second one.
I think you and I are in lone company.
I know.
Yeah, I don't get it either. I think people really strain to give RoboCop 2 a lot of props. I'm not really sure
I know.
why.
People do the same thing with Jaws too. Like, guys, stop pretending.
Yeah, I don't really get it. Like I don't
Because you know what they both are? They're just like boring. Like they're just like versions of the first one that aren't by artists.
Yeah. And it's kind of like the reason I don't the reason I think I can't relate to it quite is that as we know I've had a RoboCop reawakening, but movies that to me I would have like a more confident argument ground would be like we mentioned last week, like Predator, right? But I feel while I think Predator 2 is a perfectly okay movie, I feel no urgent desire to defend it vehemently.
Predator 2 is trying to do something different, though. Like,
Yeah,
I don't want to watch a mediocre version of a great movie. I'll totally watch, like, a silly, ridiculous version of a great movie. That's why I like Batman and Robin more than Batman Forever.
Okay. Yeah.
I will not sanction RoboCop 2's buffoonery.
No, I agree. I wouldn't. I'm not going to slap sanctions on that one either. I've never understood your differentiation between Batman and Robin and Batman Forever. It's the same fucking goofiness level to me. It's just about the same.
You need Mr. Freeze. That's the difference.
Okay. Fair point.
Yeah.
Fair point.
I'm not going to watch one of those stupid Batman movies if they don't have Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. All right.
Oh, what do you give RoboCop 3?
I'm giving it 2 stars.
Yeah, I almost considered a 3, but I'm going to give it a 2, but it's definitely better than the second one. Who's your MVP?
Jill Hennessy.
Same.
Yeah, she's solid. She's great in every scene. And she's a doctor that helps RoboCop that actually isn't stupid. It's a good character.
Remember Crossing Jordan?
I mean, I know of the show. I
never watched it. What was she crossing?
The Jordan River? I don't know.
No, I think her name was Jordan, like the character she was playing. It was like Crossing Jordan.
Don't cross her. Yeah.
I guess, but what is it? A lawyer show? What is she?
I have no fucking
I'm
clue.
gonna go ahead and look up Crossing Jordan right now. It was created by the same guy that created Heroes.
Oh, all right.
Let's see. Crossing Jordan. Here it is. Miguel Ferrer was in it. It ran 117 episodes, 6 seasons. Maybe I'll watch it now that I'm such a Hennessy head.
Go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's a Boston medical examiner.
Oh, there you go. Jordan Hospital.
Crossing. You think? Is it a hospital or is she working like a morgue? Do you think she's like crossing over, talking to the dead?
I love that you're asking me all these questions rhetorically, as if I would ever have an answer for a single fucking one of them. It's ridiculous.
I have no fucking idea. All right.
I watched it. I'm surprised.
Anybody out there who's watched Crossing Jordan, let me know. There's somebody downstairs in the apartment below me that is, it sounds like they're hitting their radiator with a baseball bat. So if you hear that on the show, let me know.
I liked it.
Yeah.
All right. LVP.
I'm going to go with Otomo.
Yeah, I am too. I had the 3-way tie, but our discussion, you turned me that this guy's kind of worse than the kid.
Take this samurai subplot out of the movie. I might be giving this a 3.
Yeah, you take him and the kid out of the movie, you definitely get a 3 from me. But yeah, all right, fair enough. 2 stars.
Wow,
And-
what a fun thing! Superhero count? Probably a few of them.
Probably a ton with this cast.
No, and the next one, man. I feel like everyone
yeah.
in that RoboCop remake has been in superhero shit.
Oh, you got Nick Fury, Commissioner Gordon, Batman.
Excuse me, Rick Flag.
Oh God, right.
Rick
right.
Flag.
Oh Lord.
Isn't that Suicide Squad?
I think so.
Yeah. All right, you want to talk about that movie?
Yeah, RoboCop 2014.
So I forgot this movie existed. I think a lot of people have. This really came and went.
Yeah, I saw it in theaters.
Tell me about the experience of seeing it in theaters, because I saw they were making this without knowing anything about it. Was like, I'm not going to see that RoboCop remake.
Yeah, right. This was me another pre-streaming service Henry year, so I was just going to the movies a fucking ton, and I remember being extraordinarily underwhelmed, and I remember it being one of those kind of just very disappointing, loud, annoying movies.
It is too loud. God, I get so tired of bullets.
Yeah, they're tiring, and I remember it was definitely when I left. It was a 2-star movie. We'll reveal if I remained at 2. But that was 6 years ago. So I have not seen it since. So that's 6 years. So I really didn't. I remembered certain things, but mainly just people that were in it. When they showed up, I was like, oh yeah.
It was a big release though, like a big budget movie. It got promoted pretty heavy. Michael Keaton this was right around the time of Birdman, I think.
Same year. Yeah, same year.
And so he was like kind of on the rise. He was mounting a comeback. And so I mean, I do remember it, but like everyone that I know who's like a more casual movie fan that I told I was covering RoboCop, they were like, "Oh, what? There's like 3 of those." Even yesterday, I was watching this movie. I was at work, and a dude I work with, this guy Peter, who's like a huge movie buff. He really knows his shit. And I was like, "Hey, I'm watching that like RoboCop remake." I was like pretty early. And I'm like, "It's better than I thought it was gonna be." And he was like, "RoboCop remake." He had no fucking idea.
That's hilarious. Wow. Yeah, I wasn't that bad.
This movie is a ghost.
Yeah, it is a ghost. It really it was, but it was an interesting rewatch with some time away from it, and then as usual, the value of our show for me in the cinematic experience is watching these things back to back and being able to tie them to what was the original franchise idea. So I had a lot more going in, because when I saw the remake, I still hadn't seen. Well, I know I hadn't seen 2 and 3. I hadn't seen the original in many years. So seeing it in the theater was like my distant memories of RoboCop, and knowing it completely missed the point. But I was still mad. But this time around it was different.
I don't know that it did miss the point.
Well,
I feel like this guy really had something to say. All right, well, yeah, we'll get there. So obviously this movie was announced well before it was released, 9 years before, in 2005. They announced, then in 2008, it was announced that Darren Aronofsky was going to be directing it. Because in the 2000s, anytime there was a big budget movie, Darren Aronofsky was at some point announced as the director of it.
Oh my God, I know. What is with that guy? He was going to do Batman. He's always attached to these.
He was going to do the Wolverine, and then decided that he's afraid of airplanes.
Is that what it was?
He said he didn't want to fly to Japan. Yeah.
Oh God. He's a strange dude. I mean, whatever. He's made one of the best directors out there, so I don't really care, but,
So he was going to be directing with a screenplay by David Self, who I think is he's written Marvel shit.
We know him. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, like, that fell apart, obviously, and they got this dude, Jose Padilla. And he's directing it. He was hired off of the success of his Brazilian films, Elite Squad, and its sequel, which I've never seen, but I'm told have, like, great action in them.
That's exactly what I've heard. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I haven't seen anything by the guy. He's definitely got a good. He's a real director.
Are there as many Gatling guns in those movies? Because I had a fucking headache from the sound of bullets being shot, just one after the other, the whole fucking movie.
Yeah.
Can I hear something else? I mean, I would have listened to the sound of a man eating a mayonnaise sandwich, just to hear something different.
Yeah, Stephen Root eating a mayonnaise sandwich.
Yeah, it would be better.
Yeah.
All right, so he's directing from a script by Joshua Zatumer. They also have credits, screenplay credits to Ed Neumeyer and Michael Miner, but I don't know how much work they actually did.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
I have no idea. I mean, they might have just given them credit because they wrote the first one.
That's very, very nice that they did that. I mean, that's very generous. I mean, I don't know. I mean, and I wanted to say that before we get into it, I said to you that they missed the point, but that's what I thought when I saw it in the theater. But now that I've had the benefit of watching the original again, we'll get into whether they got the point right or not. But I
think they're making a different point. But they are trying to make a point.
Oh, yes, they are. And we get a huge cast.
Wait. So, 1 second before we get into the cast.
No, you're
right.
So
the writer is Joshua Zatumer. His only other credit is fucking Patriots Day with Mark Wahlberg.
I did not see that in the theater.
I didn't see it at all. You saw that on, like, video?
No, never.
Oh, okay. Okay, so this was released February 12th, 2014. An even more baffling release date than November. Like,
take your date for Valentine's Day.
I mean, to me, releasing this movie Valentine's Day weekend is basically announcing to the world that it doesn't matter and we don't expect it to make money.
Yeah, that's a really, really bad release date. You've missed Christmas. You're not going for summer.
They're going for alternate programming. What do they call that?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can think of, and I could be way off here, you tell me, but is that this is right in the heart of Marvel mania, and maybe they just didn't even want to bother competing with any summer Marvel movies.
But I feel like Marvel usually releases movies in like February.
But they can.
Hang on, I'm looking at this date. I'm going to tell you exactly what came out.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
Because this movie needed a summer.
Feb 12 here. Wait, where is it? Am I looking at the wrong year? Sorry.
2014.
Yeah, this is 2014.
AD.
Great. Thank you. I needed that.
It's the Egyptians did not make movies yet. Just cuneiform on the wall.
You're a real weirdo.
Yeah, I'm trying to fill the air right now.
Oh, really? Because here it is. Okay, RoboCop. So it was released right around the time of here we go. It got wrecked by Beauty and the Beast, bro.
Which Beauty and the Beast is this now? The live action thing, is it? Or what? I don't even know.
Oh, wait. Never mind. No, this is some weird French movie. I mean, God, there wasn't a lot going on. I could kind of see why they released it.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's had an open window for no competition.
You know what? It opened opposite 3 Days to Kill, the Kevin Costner movie, and I bet they were expecting to like destroy that movie, and I think that movie did all right.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, RoboCop's a weird thing because I think that a lot of people in 2014, it depends on who they're going for.
Oh, here's what happened. I'll tell you exactly what happened. I'm so sorry, Henry. They're going for young men with that movie, and the Lego movie was released the week before, and I just don't think they were expecting it to be as big as it was.
Oh, that would have put a hamper on it.
Yeah.
A
hamper?
Throw your dirty clothes in there, sure. Yeah, but the other thing is movies like remakes of RoboCop are strange too in 2014 or that right now because anyone who's gonna be at all interested would have had to. You would think. I mean, they're going to be fans of the original, so they're aiming for a strange demographic. They're aiming for people my age, essentially. I mean, and maybe if they promote it as not as violent, they're going to get kids to go. But I mean, it's a strange idea that who is their audience? You know, they want to get people who have never heard of RoboCop and don't know what it is.
I think they're looking for a 4-quadrant success, Henry. So they make it a RoboCop movie. They give it that IP, and so they're hoping to get nostalgic people that liked the original. And then yeah, and then they're also just marketing it as like a big, enormous action movie, and they throw Samuel L. Jackson in there because you have to.
Yeah, strange. Okay, well,
the budget was $130 million.
That's large.
It's very large, and it made 242.6, which is just not what they want. I mean that they need. I think they need at least 300 to like make a profit.
Yeah, and plus with that budget, I mean, there's not every actor in here by a long shot, but you know that Oldman and Jackson are going to get big chunks.
Jackson, he's Nick Fury at this point.
Yeah.
And Oldman's coming off those Batman movies and frankly just won an Oscar for Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy at this point.
Did he win for that?
I believe so.
Holy shit. I didn't remember he won for that. Wow.
I'm almost positive.
All right.
You're right. Those are big names, dude. I mean, it's probably why they didn't feel like they needed to get someone big to play RoboCop.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely a part of that, and plus of the whole thing with you don't see his face a lot, but of course they do show his face a lot, so he actually does have to act. But yeah, I guess the Kinnaman casting is really off. What is that off of? Is that off of The Killing?
The Killing. He had heat from The Killing, man. This was AMC was hot at this point. They would put out Breaking Bad and Mad Men. And The Killing was poised to be like their third major success. The first season did really well for them. And then when they didn't, reveal who Rosie Larson's killer was by the end of the first season, I think a lot of people jumped ship, including myself.
Yeah, see, I watched it a couple of years later on Netflix and just binged it, so it didn't make any goddamn difference to me. But I could see that. I could see jumping ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This movie came in at number 56 at the box office for 2014. It made slightly less than Planes, Fire and Rescue, which I don't think was intended to be a theatrical release.
Oh, ouch.
And made slightly more than Dracula Untold, which I think was like a bomb.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
That's in America. In America, it only made like 50 some odd million dollars. Like most of its haul came overseas.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
Which I get,
Yeah,
like
sure.
Hey, those Mortal Kombat episodes did really well in Japan. That we the one we were. I swear to God.
Really?
Yeah.
Good.
I know.
Well, I did see on.
Thank you to our Japanese listeners that have stuck with the show.
Yeah, I did see on Podkite that the Japanese flag was up there for the first time in a while.
That's right.
And I've been seeing Switzerland a lot. And
the Swiss love us, but the Japanese, they like when we cover VGs.
Yeah. Well, we'll get back to that area.
We certainly will. We certainly will. Definitely. We'll cover Blood Rain.
And I've asked you this before, so don't be infuriated. Underworld is not based on a video game, right?
No. It just looks like the Underworld. When you're watching that movie, it's the exact same experience of watching like the stop motion cutscenes in between, like when you're playing video games. Like that's how shitty the movie looked, but it's not based on a video game.
I always think that's a video game movie. Okay.
Yeah, because it looks like one.
Yeah. There's a lot of fodder left for video game movies we haven't touched. So,
Blood Rain.
That's all you got, Blood Rain.
I can't think of any others that have sequels.
Oh,
Silent Hill.
What about Akita? Isn't that a video game?
What?
Akita. The
What's
thing that came out
Akita?
last year. That thing that came out last year with like the girl that's
You mean
like
Alita Battle Angel?
That's exactly what I meant.
No,
yes.
that's a James Cameron concept that Robert Rodriguez directed.
Oh God, I walked right into it.
Yeah, I mentioned Cameron again for you.
No, you didn't have to. I brought it up and didn't even mean to.
I know. He's just everywhere, man.
All right. Here we go.
All right, yeah, you want to go ahead? Well, it starts with a Fox News broadcast, and it's Samuel L. Jackson talking to the... Hey, by the way, did you notice they replaced the MGM lion roar?
No, I didn't.
Because Samuel L. Jackson, the movie opens with him, like, preparing... He's like a conservative broadcaster.
Yeah.
And he's, like, doing vocal warm-ups before...
Yeah.
He's going, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And when they show the MGM lion roar, you hear him doing his vocal warm-up.
That's funny. I didn't even think about that. That's kind of creative.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. All right, so Sam Jackson, he's hosting a show called The Novak Element. And it's, state-run TV trying to brainwash people. So, I mean, like, it's directly based on Fox News.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Novak element, the O'Reilly factor.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
Hannity.
Yeah. Right,
He just uses that last name.
Life, Liberty, and Levin. That's a fucking show.
Is that a show?
Uh-huh. The Ingram
Levin?
Report. Yeah.
He's Jewish?
I think so.
God, Republican Jews really freak me out.
There's a lot of them.
The Orthodox are all Republican because all they care about is money. Oh, God, I shouldn't be saying shit like that.
Dude, Trump.
By the way, happy Yom Kippur.
Happy Yom Kippur.
I'm Jewish, guys. I'm fucking Jewish. I can have opinions about my community.
Yes, you can. It's Trump's main fucking henchman, Stephen Miller, I believe, is Jewish.
And his son-in-law.
The authority on international relations, Jared Kushner, yes.
What are you talking about? He solved Israel-Palestine.
Forgot. I always forget.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I mean, politics are going to come up in this movie. This movie is not shy about trying to comment on the state of politics, although it does seem maybe a little more optimistic than I'd like because it came out during Obama America.
It's true. It's true. But he gets into drones and occupations, and it's like international politics, really. Oh, but it also is domestic. It's domestic crime, but not as much. I feel like it's really like America police state.
Yeah, well, it's doing Team America kind of a thing. But
yeah.
They're doing a broadcast, and Sam Jackson is talking about how there's a law in America at this point that is like outlaws robots.
The Dreyfus Act.
Yes, Dreyfus is a senator played by the great Zach Grenier.
Yeah, I loved seeing him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
From The Good Wife. And then...
I know him. He's a Fincher regular. That's
he is, yeah. Oh, yeah. Isn't he the... He shows up in Fight Club, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's in Fight Club. He shows up in, he's like latter-day Fincher, like Fight Club and post-Fight Club. He's in several things, yeah.
All right, so he's talking about how in Tehran we have invaded and we're running the streets because we've taken over from a dictator or whatever. And we cut to Tehran and there's like Ed 209s roaming the streets. And there's this kind of baller overhead shot of Tehran where you're like seeing like this whole city with like Ed 209s and like robots walking around everywhere.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, this director's got a lot of flair.
No, the movie totally looks good.
Oh, it really does. No,
yeah.
it does look good. Yeah, he's got a good eye. It's got a nice. It has a good look to it. I like the colors and the lensing and all that bullshit. It was a nice looking movie.
Yeah, it wasn't drab. I was worried I'd be bored, and I kind of never was.
No, I wasn't either. I mean, at all. This was a better viewing for me than watching it in the theater. Ironically,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, so let's talk about our erstwhile Alex Murphy.
Yes.
He's Joel Kinnaman. We talked about his great voice already. And he's got a partner in Omar from The Wire, Michael K. Williams, a.k.a. from Lovecraft Country, baby.
AKA Boardwalk Empire.
Chalky
AKA,
White, baby.
AKA a lot of stuff.
Hey, is he gay in real life?
Yeah.
I thought so, because he's gay in Lovecraft Country, and he was on the... I think like the only thing I've ever seen him in where he's not is Boardwalk.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've seen him in a few movies where he isn't. I mean, he's in a lot of movies.
But he's never given good roles in movies. He just shows up for like a few scenes.
Yeah, yeah. But he's really good, man. He's a really good actor.
They should give Michael K. Williams a lead role in a movie. I'd love to see what he'd do with it.
Yeah, I know. I they should. I kind of want to quickly look him up because I feel like I've seen him.
He's a ballet dancer. Like he could have been good in like Us or something.
Yeah. Oh, I remember. Yeah, he's in The Road, Inherent Vice, The Night of, Gone Baby Gone, 12 Years a Slave, When They See Us.
Yeah, he's great in When They See Us, right. He plays one of their dads.
He's straight in that. Yeah.
That's a great point, Henry.
Yeah. He gets a lot of work now, so I'm actually really happy that post The Wire he was recognized and gets work. I mean, that's really good. Oh, we remember him. He was in The Purge Anarchy too.
That's right. Yeah. I also saw him years ago on a show that only ran one season called 6 Degrees, baby.
Okay. All right. He's in Motherless Brooklyn.
Wait, we're just reading Michael K. Williams' filmography at this point?
Yeah, just checking it out. That's all. Continue. We can continue. Yeah.
Anyway, he's great. So he gets put in a coma. They're like investigating. It's basically this movie's version of Boddicker, and it's honestly the weakest link in the movie. This is my LVP. This villain sucks. He's like this.
Which villain? There's a lot.
Whatever. The lead guy, Valon.
Yeah, Valen. Yeah, I mean. That's actually fair because I wasn't happy with my LVP in this. So you've made my LVP live.
This guy's a nobody, man. He makes Kurt Woods. Well, I mean, Kurt Woods Smith is amazing. But anyway, I don't understand why this sequence is shown in flashback, Henry.
Which one?
There's the sequence where they go undercover with this guy's mob, and then Michael K. Williams gets shot and put in a coma. Well, he's not in a coma. He's just like in the hospital.
There's no need for it to be a flashback. You're right. They have him come into the police department and tell the sergeant the story of what happened instead of they could have opened the movie with that bust. And then,
I like the way they opened the movie, but they could have like introduced him on that bust, like.
Right. I mean,
because the actual flashback was pretty cool. Like I thought that was good, but I just could not make sense of why we were learning about this in hindsight.
Well, I mean, you find out eventually why we learned about it because Valen is connected to the police chief. That's why. So he's telling her something she already knows. I
know, but like, just keep it linear, baby.
Yeah.
We don't need to be doing that shit. You know what I never want to see again for the rest of my life?
What's that?
For the rest of my life, I never want to see this.
Time jumps?
No. Just when a movie starts with an action sequence, and you're like, how are they going to get out of this one? And then it's like, 3 months earlier.
Yeah.
I don't need that shit. Just tell me the story, and you could show me that action sequence later. I'm watching this because I want to be. You don't need to grab me.
Yeah, I feel like it can be a very, very lazy device to just look creative. It's like a sheen to put on like, look, we're gonna take you back 3 months earlier, and they just get to put it on the screen. And
it's a recent thing too. Like this was not as much of a thing. Like I remember when Alias premiered in like 2003 or 4. This was sort of their shtick. Like they would do that in every episode, and I remember thinking it was cool at the time. Yeah. But now I feel like every show I watch does this.
I'm actually not too nuts when they do that in comic books either. They do that a lot in comic books, like where I'm flipping through a page and then it's like 6 months earlier, 2 weeks earlier. Well, when they do a lot of it, like back to back to back to back.
Yeah, there's plenty of guys who can like sit down and map that out and make it interesting. Tarantino and like Pulp Fiction or like Nolan occasionally, but like I just think like most people it's not a device for anything other than trying to grab an audience earlier. And you know what? Write good characters. That'll grab us. Or write like a prologue, like Raiders of the Lost Ark. That works sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. And you're right on your earlier point too. It's like I'm already here. I'm already watching.
Yeah, what are you trying to do?
Me.
Nobody's flipping around the channels anymore. All right? People are choosing your shit. Movie. Yeah. I clicked on the little icon on whatever fucking streaming app it is. Just tell me a fucking story.
Yeah, I hear you. So,
Michael Keaton. Sorry.
Yeah. So, no, whatever. So, Kinnaman's got a wife and a kid. We spent a lot of time, too much time.
No.
No?
No.
Oh, okay. I think we spent a lot of time, whereas the first movie we spend no time, and it's far more powerful in his memories. And here we get a kind of conventional
different movie.
I know, but we're comparing it in relation to the originals in some ways. I mean, it's inevitable, but I think.
I think the thing to do in this movie is not the first movie. I think the smart thing to do is go in the opposite direction. So, like, if we didn't show the family in the first movie, might be interesting to see the family in this one.
No, fair point. But there's a lot of it, I thought. And I wasn't like this one. You're right. I mean, in the first movie, we don't get a lot of Murphy's backstory. In this movie, we get a ton of it. And it actually spends a good part of an hour or more.
The movie is paced very, very weirdly. You know how I was talking about how, like, really tight scripts, you can, like, press display. Like, you can look up how much time is left in a movie, and it's, like, perfectly structured.
Yeah.
Like, this movie, it was so wild. Like, he doesn't fight an actual villain until, like, over an hour in because we spend so much time on, like, the science of it and the training and his, like, psychological profile and his family. And it's not really much of an action movie.
No, and you spend, like you said, a lot of time on the science. Like, we even get an introduction with Gary Oldman showing about his robotics for amputees and prosthetics and all that. And we get a really rather horrifying, gruesome sequence of Kinnaman
realizing that he's literally just a head
and lungs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Jesus
even
Christ.
His brain wasn't fully intact. It was actually a pretty horrifying shot. Like,
very horrifying.
In a good way.
Yeah, and I mean, he basically asks to be he does ask to be euthanized, and
they convince him not to because his wife had signed like papers to make sure this was okay. She was trying to get him back.
And I was okay with the way he dies. They changed that, which is totally fine. That's a good example of not trying to duplicate a classic sequence.
I actually enjoyed that too. He's getting ready to bone his wife, and then he hears a car alarm, and he gets up. And see, that's the problem with being married, Henry. If you were boning somebody who you're like really excited to bone, it's like you haven't boned them a lot, you're not getting up for a car alarm.
That's right.
All right? But see, because he's boned this woman like 1,000 times before, it's not like he's missing anything.
It is Abby Cornish.
Well, I will say part of the reason I'm defending the family stuff so much is Abby Cornish. I think she's a rather generic-looking blonde. And I used to see the name Abby Cornish and just think, like, she's, like, another whatever. Like, there's, like, 1,000. Good. She's a dime a dozen. But, like, I do appreciate Abby Cornish. She has... She's a thoughtful actress. And I really do think that she creates a character every time she's in a movie. And like I've seen her in a lot of bad movies where she's like the best thing in it.
Yeah, she's good. They don't give her much to emote in here like that. No, they rather she's still just kind of the victimized wife. That's not a. I like all the RoboCops. It's not a very women friendly movie, but
A little
she's
more
good in
so
it.
this time. You know, we saw her a little bit previously in Elizabeth the Golden Age. I remember that we
Oh, okay.
discussed her, but I watched the Ridley Scott film A Good Year recently.
I turned that off years ago.
I'll tell you what, Abby Cornish, best part of that movie.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
I remember giving it a shot and just gave up and turned it off. But yeah.
I can understand why I did. I almost shut that movie off right away because there's like a flashback at the beginning of the movie, and it instead of saying like many years ago, it says many vintages ago because it's a wine movie, and I almost shut it off right then.
And that's my boy Ridley, and our boy Russell, but I don't know.
Ridley's overrated.
He's what?
He's overrated.
Okay. It's a bad movie, but anyway.
He made Alien. That's it.
Okay.
Then you're out. What's his second best movie?
Oh my God.
I think I've turned on Ridley Scott in my old age.
I think you have. I don't know if you were ever really.
No, I used to see movies specifically because he directed them.
Dude, the Duelists.
I've never seen that.
Blade Runner. I know you don't like it. Alien. I still love Black Rain.
Other than Alien, has he ever made anything better than a 3?
You're fucking nuts, man. You're nuts. I mean, I'd have to pull him up and look at all his movies, but I love Ridley Scott.
G.I. Jane?
No, I don't like that.
White Squall?
Didn't see it. American Gangster was a disappointment.
1492 Conquest of Paradise?
Okay. It's the morning. My brain's not fully on functioning mode, and if I could think of his movies that I love right off the top of my head, I would, but I can't.
Ridley. Body of Lies.
I like that. That's a good movie. That's a good movie.
This dumb guy.
You didn't even see it.
I think Tony's a better director.
I know you do. I love Tony too.
I think there's more great Tony Scott movies than Ridley Scott movies.
Dan's trying to walk me into a plank over the ocean of the Scott brothers. And unlike Tony, I'm not going to jump.
All right, Michael Keaton, he's in this movie.
Did you hear that joke? Did you hear that really bad joke?
Unlike Tony, I'm not going to jump. It's pretty good. I wanted to move on, but I liked it.
I shouldn't have said that. That was
No,
nice.
it was good, bro. It was a Crimson Tide that day. All right. H-Dog. Keaton. I've never seen more lines on a man's face than Michael Keaton in this film.
Oh, God, Mikey Keats.
He's great, though. I actually think Michael Keaton is wonderful in this movie. And
it's fantastic.
I think Michael Keaton works so well as a villain because I like when he's, like, untethered. Michael Keaton is sometimes a very controlled actor. He's better when he doesn't have that control.
Well, I love wild and crazy Michael Keaton, whether he's bad or good. And I think there's 2 movies you still haven't really watched where in Pacific Heights, where he is just purely bad. He's not even like this guy where he's like bad, but then he puts on charm. In Pacific Heights, he's purely bad. And then Clean and Sober. He's great.
Didn't he do another big movie? He played Vulture around this point in Spider-Man Homecoming. He's a good villain, man.
Yeah. No, he is. He is. He does have sort of an inherently likable quality, which makes him a good villain.
Absolutely.
That's why he's deceptive. But
I was honestly, there's a scene when, like, one of his first scenes, he's like speaking to Zach Grenier on like the Supreme Court or something.
Senator, yeah.
Yeah. But they're like in court.
Oh, yes. I know the scene you're talking about.
Yeah. And Michael Keaton is defending robots. And like I'm sitting there listening to this Michael Keaton monologue, and I'm like, he's so good that I'm like, I think he's got a point. I think we got to populate with robots.
He's very good at committing, but then I love the moment, his acting in the one line he gives after Grenier grills him and just says like, he says, so what type of humanity do they have? What is going to stop them from making a decision that a human would make? And Keaton just stops and I mean, it was very unusual in a movie like this. He looks down, pauses, and does that kind of biting lip Keaton move he does, where he's kind of like, and he goes, nothing. And it's like he's beaten. And that's a great scene because, like, he's not as twisty, mustachy, comic-y as he could have been. He's like admitting right there, he's like, well, nothing. Like, I lost.
Yeah, honestly, like, they could have gone even further with it. Like, Michael Keaton is basically playing a Republican politician in this movie, and they are treating him like a politician in, like, old pre-Trump politics, where, like, Republicans were, like, shitheels, but not mustache-twirlingly evil. And now, like, it looks like almost meek, this character. Like, nothing Michael Keaton does in this movie is as bad as anything Mitch McConnell does on a daily basis.
Completely true. Totally true. No argument here. Yeah. Well, he shows humanity, not in empathetic ways, but he shows when he answers nothing, he's admitting defeat, which is something that cannot be done today. That is a sign of you're a weak person. And the fact that he does that, it's very cool. And I also wanted to point out, I noticed a change in my viewing this time was I pretty much kind of think I thought it was pretty hammy and stupid the first time I watched it, the whole Gary Oldman character and the whole sequences with him. I did not think that at all this time. And I thought Gary Oldman was absolutely awesome.
He's a little hammy, but not in a bad way. Like,
the guitar thing was too much. The guitar sequence.
Oh my god, that guy playing flamenco guitar with his like robot fingers. By the way, Michael Keaton coming in and knowing what piece it was he was playing, I'm not buying that shit.
He's a big classical music fan of Hector Villalobos.
Yeah, sure. A Republican senator's definitely gonna know about that shit.
He's not a senator. Keaton's he's a
politician.
He's like a Koch brother. That's what he is. He's like a Koch brother.
Yeah, or a Lehman brother.
Yeah, he's a conglomerate man. Yeah.
Or an award bro.
We don't have any money.
We have some.
We made more money last year than Trump paid in taxes.
We truly did.
You saw that. Right? You saw that.
Of course I did. Of course I did. I'm horrified by everything.
Great stuff. Anyway, but Gary Oldman's fantastic in this movie. I love him. You know, he's another one like Keaton, right? He can play fucking awesome villains, but when he gets to play a really good-hearted guy, I love that too.
Oldman's my favorite fucking villain. I love Oldman as a villain in The Professional and True Romance. And
me too. Those were the two I was thinking of. Yeah. He's great at Dracula.
He's great Romeo is Bleeding.
I see that. Mm-hmm. But I love when he plays a good guy too, like in Commissioner Gordon. I think he's like an amazing Commissioner Gordon, and I love him in this.
He actually has a great ability to project empathy on screen.
Yes, you're right.
And so you really are on his side. Like, you trust that he means well towards RoboCop.
Which was great to know, because watching the movie, that was one of the fun things. Like, I was like, he is good, right? Like,
yeah.
He's not. I was gonna feel very let down if he fucked over Alex. Which a minute you think he might.
Yeah, for sure. I thought that his hot scientist assistant was going to have a heel turn, but then it turned out she was just there to be a hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A hot.
Yeah.
Hot. Yeah. So essentially, they get what with the plot here? I don't know. It's radically different, obviously.
Well, he's overseas training to be a RoboCop, and
he's in China.
You know, they're experimenting a lot with like his brain and how much of Alex Murphy is in there and how much is just a RoboCop. And there's a little too much of that. You never really get a firm footing in this movie of exactly like what Alex is going through. because they're
That's
able to
right.
like remotely switch it.
That's right. And one of the things it doesn't fully,
And that might be why you need the wife too.
Yeah, true. And I think they reconcile most of it, but one major thing is totally left unanswered, and I was actually waiting for it to be answered, and then I read the plot description again after the movie, and they do not address it. So they try to make him less empathetic after a while, so they basically drain him of any sort of what is it, the chemical serotonin or whatever, so he's just like a flat, like, and he's able to, through his own emotions and his brain, just bring that back, so that's fine. But there's this very specific thing they don't answer. When he first does the test run, and he's like 5 seconds behind the actual robot of Jackie Earle Haley, another great villain, Jackie Earle Haley.
No.
Didn't like him?
No. I never liked Jackie Earle Haley. He sucks.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Really?
I liked him in Little Children because he looks like a pedophile. But I gotta tell you, the Jackie Earle Haley-assance that began with that movie, like,
yeah.
I love Little Children, and I almost wish that movie didn't exist so that we didn't have this Jackie Earle Haley resurgence.
I like him.
He's in so much, and he always sucks. I think he sucks as fucking Rorschach in Watchmen.
Yes, he does.
He sucks in this. We covered him in something else that I hated him in too.
Yeah, we did. I recall that. But I like him. I think he's a good villain. I think he's very good. But one of the things they say,
fucking Nightmare on Elm Street, dude.
Terrible.
Oh,
that's not all his fault. But
but he was also in Preacher, which is like,
I didn't see that.
Based on my favorite piece of art ever, and he's bad in that. He's bad in Lincoln. He's
not
bad in Shutter Island.
No, he's not.
He sucks.
We disagree on JEH. But listen, so in order to make RoboCop more efficient, they put a chip in him to make him, when they fully explain that when he goes into battle, they go into this sort of ego id thing where they say Alex Murphy thinks it's him acting in battle, but it's not him. So he all of a sudden he becomes more efficient. Now my question became, well, so when he's fighting in any part of the movie, I kept waiting for well, then is it actually him controlling it, or is it sort of like a suit that is just taking over, and they never answer if they took it out of him? So if they don't answer it, you assume anytime he's in combat, he's actually not making
I think that's the case, and that makes the movie slightly less interesting to me, because it sort of renders Alex a blank slate the second they do that for the rest of the movie, basically.
Right, and it's very bizarre because they do establish that he gets his empathy back and his humanity by his own dopamine levels and all that bullshit. But if they've left this machination for him when he's fighting, then he's not really in total control.
Then we're literally watching a movie where the protagonist is a robot.
That's right. It's a contradiction that they don't resolve, and I think I actually think it's unintentional. I think they just forgot.
You need a Nancy Allen character in this movie to sort of walk to like, he needs a partner when he's.
He has one, but he's never in it.
Michael K. Williams, he's in the hospital the whole time. Yeah, I mean, like when he turns into RoboCop, they need to give him a partner, but he's like out there just on his like cool motorcycle, which I think is just like a ripoff of Nolan's Batman.
Yeah, it is, but it's a neat idea. I mean, I did always wonder how Peter Weller's RoboCop fit into a fucking regular Ford Taurus police car.
It's funny, his movements, they kept really jerky in this movie. And he like makes that noise with every move he makes.
But he's very elegant. He's totally way more mobile. He can like roll around and flip around, and he's like, so.
But that scene where he goes to like visit his family for the first time is so wild, because he shows up like as RoboCop. His son's kind of scared. Like, what's he gonna do? Bone his wife? Like,
I honestly was thinking a lot of those things. Like when like Gary Oldman's telling him that your wife wants you back, it's like, well, what's he gonna do? Go into bed and sleep there and get up and make breakfast? I mean, they're not gonna have a
Yeah,
life.
what is his life gonna be?
It's not a life. That's why he's got to just be like a 24-hour cop. I mean, that's why the family stuff made it hard for me to believe a lot of that stuff. But
There's that one bit they do where he keeps, like, they can show his memory banks basically. So most of the time he is looking at like police profiles and shit, trying to look for criminals. There's actually kind of that great scene. I loved the scene where they like present him to the public and he does not acknowledge his family at all, and then he sees like a wanted murderer in the crowd and is able to apprehend him like immediately.
No, that's good.
I love that, but he like starts picturing his wife and kid more, which concerns them.
Yeah, right. Yeah. They don't want
human.
him to be. Yeah, they don't want him to be, remembering this stuff or whatever. I mean, it's a weird movie because they spend almost 50% of the time with RoboCop and almost exactly 50% of the other time with the villains, which isn't necessarily a bad thing.
No, it's not. But 50% of the time spent with RoboCop, more than 50%, is zero stakes training sequences.
You're right.
And that's partly why I didn't like the Jackie Earle Haley character, just because anytime he's on screen, nothing that I'm looking at matters.
It's kind of just like a bigger dick show.
It's just an action sequence. I think this is... I read that Jose Padilla had a bad time making this movie. And he's friends with Fernando Murray, who directed City of God.
Oh, great movie. Okay.
Or Moraes. I think that's how you pronounce it.
I don't know his name.
And he apparently told Fernando Moraes that like he has a lot of ideas for the RoboCop movie, but 9 out of 10 of them get rejected by the studio. Like he was really under like a lot of studio surveillance as like a new director, and this is like a big property. So I don't think they left him the fuck alone. And I think they hired him on the basis of Elite Squad. So he's trying to make this like thoughtful movie about like consciousness and and about like what is you and what is your conscience and how much control do your morals have over you, and does that even matter? Like it's a really fucking thoughtful movie. But
yeah, I agree.
But there's so many like just sequences of nothing where he's just like shooting guns, and I think that's got to be studio interference. They hired this guy from Elite Squad, and they were like, "We need some fucking guns in there."
That's what they wanted. I mean, they want him on the bike. They want him in the warehouse blowing people around, and they want it done with Padilla's flair.
Inimitable style.
Yeah, exactly. They want that style. But it just you're that's interesting. I didn't know any of that. I mean, well, I got to say, I mean, it doesn't really come through the movie that it's like was done under duress. But
I think it did come through. When I didn't know that while I was watching the movie.
Yeah, no.
And to me, what this movie reminded me of the most was Kong Skull Island.
Is that the Sam Jackson?
Yes.
I liked it.
I liked it too. I gave it a 3. But that to me was a movie that like didn't function as a movie. Like to me, every ounce of that movie, I was looking at the studio saying, we want a Kong movie. We want to maybe cross it over into some other monster shit later on. Like, it was so calculated. And that's how I felt about this movie. But what was different about this movie was it was almost like an artist trying to rise above that and only sometimes succeeding.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, so then that brings me to our protagonist, who we kind of were making, we were making fun of at the start. But what did you think of Kinnaman overall?
I do think he's more interesting when he does that voice, weirdly. I think Joel Kinnaman is not an actor without talent. I think it's very hard to project charisma under a face mask. and
Right.
it's a special kind of actor who can do it. One of them is in this movie. His name is Michael Keaton.
That's true.
Joel Kinnaman is not.
Yeah. But I think that he's perfectly fine as someone who they got to be RoboCop. I mean,
No, I mean, look, I'll take it over Sam Worthington or some bullshit, but like,
yeah, it could have gone that way.
Yeah.
I mean, easily could have gone that way. And
yeah, or like
you know.
like third string Hemsworth or whatever. But like, like he's fine. He's totally, he does the job. He didn't hurt this movie at all.
Yeah, he didn't.
No.
He didn't hurt the movie. I mean, that, and he could have, because they give him a lot of sequences without the mask and in regular character as Alex Murphy, and he's totally fine.
I don't think I had a huge problem with anybody in the cast.
Yeah, no, I didn't either. I mean, I was struggling, like I said, with my LVP. I mean, even though it's not a great movie, I still didn't think that the acting by anyone was particularly weak.
You know what? I had a problem with the music.
It's a lot of.
I'm not talking about the score. I'm not talking about the score, bro.
Oh,
I am talking about the ironic uses of classic standards. When he's first waking up, he's picturing himself at a party with Abby Cornish, and they're listening to "Fly Me to the Moon" by Frank Sinatra, and then they show Frank Sinatra singing it. No, sorry, LVP, Frank Sinatra.
Yeah. Yeah, that was weird.
And then there's a scene later where they play "If I Only Had a Brain" from The Wizard of Oz, because they're experimenting with his brain. And then Jackie Earle Haley for the rest of the movie calls him Tin Man.
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself. Leave your fucking Wizard of Oz references out of my movies.
I didn't mind that too much, but I mean, there were things like that made me like the
Wizard of Oz references and Alice in Wonderland references. I never want to hear another one for the rest of my life.
Well, Alice in Wonderland references they're everywhere.
Because they think anytime anyone like gets too involved in a plot, they're either over the rainbow or through the rabbit hole. And I'm like, absolutely. Leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah. The thing
George C. Scott in Hardcore. He really went through the rabbit hole into the world of porn. Leave me alone.
The credulity. I mean, in a movie like this, I'm talking about credulity, but in that, If I Only Had a Brain sequence, I'm watching and I'm like, would Gary Oldman and these other people like allow?
No, the answer is no.
Yeah, I mean, would they allow? Wouldn't they be like, it's kind of a training sequence, Sergeant. We kind of need him to focus. Can you turn off the music for this?
Yeah, I'd be like, you know that we're all scientists doing a life and death experiment right now.
Exactly. I had the same thought. I was like, this wouldn't happen. What? Yeah, I know. It was odd for sure.
It's ridiculous. All right. You got
shoot him up. I mean, he goes through a lot of arcs of in and out of being shut off, in and out of being human and robot. I mean, it's a lot to pack. They're trying to pack a lot in, like you said, with the consciousness and the morality, which is good. But I feel like a rewrite might have been in order to streamline this baby a little bit.
And there are a lot of extraneous characters and scenes. Like, this movie's 2 hours long, so it's the longest RoboCop movie, and it really doesn't need to be.
No.
It's a little bit overstuffed. Like, you have the Keaton character, so I'm not sure why you need the Jennifer Eel character as well.
You get her and you get Jay Baruchel.
I'm not sure why the fuck Jay Baruchel is in this movie.
I know. He's got, like, essentially two PR people. And I guess one is the serious one, Jennifer Eel, and then the goofy comic relief. It's Jay Baruchel. At least it wasn't Josh Gad.
It would be today. This is a Josh Gad character.
It is, and he wasn't cast, thankfully.
I did enjoy, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the cast right now, Marianne Jean-Baptiste as the police chief. I always like her and stuff.
She was good. Very good.
She deserves more work.
That's a heel turn I did not see at all, actually, I must say. I didn't see that coming at all.
Nor did I.
That she was corrupt, yeah.
Yeah, she, of course, most memorable from Mike Leigh's Secrets and Lies.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah. All
Yeah,
right.
she's really good. She's also in Mr. Jealousy, the Noah Baumbach film. She does a lot of good like indie work and TV work, and it was fun to see her in like a big movie. You know?
Yeah, it's always fun to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Oh boy. You got anything else to say? I mean, there's the big. He fights Ed 209s at the end. That's fun. I like that there were, the non-stop motion Ed 209s. I was worried I would think it would suck, but they were pretty fun.
No, they look good.
Yeah.
I mean, everything in this movie looks pretty good.
Yeah,
I mean,
and the RoboCops without humans in them looked good too.
they did. They did not look like a Star Wars Attack of the Clones thing. It was pretty well done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Not bad. And then at the end of the movie, the showdown could be better. It's very much Michael Keaton being what Roger Ebert used to call the talking villain.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
for
where
sure.
he's just taunting and yapping until like RoboCop has an opening to shoot him.
Yeah. And that's another thing, of course, they don't really go for because they don't have the humor quite there. Even though there are that's a lot of humor in the
The
movie.
Samuel L. Jackson stuff is funny.
Yes, no. But what I was going to say was in the he has that protocol. They don't really call it as such, but they reference he can't shoot an OCP member, and he can't shoot Michael Keaton, and then he can. So it's kind of like I guess he's just overwhelmed with the power of love for his family, so he's able to override that protocol. It's a little odd.
They were doing a thing where where if he feels too much emotion, then he can sort of use his Alex Murphy brain, and they had shut off his emotion completely. And at one point, they show Gary Oldman like turning it back on, so that's why.
I guess
And there's just too much of that. Like what?
Yeah,
like they're constantly explaining. Okay, so the status quo of his brain now is this.
They're fucking with his brain throughout the entire movie, all the way literally till like the final shootout sequence. So he's this, he's that, he's this, he's that, he's this, he's that. I mean, it's like it's actually hard to keep track of. You're trying to like follow what mode he's in during the movie, but
absolutely
still fun.
H dog. And that's the movie basically. What do you give this movie?
I'm giving it 3.
I am too. It's pretty good.
Yeah. It improved on my rewatch. I mean, it's totally
not
fine.
It's not doing the original RoboCop. Like honestly, like don't watch them back to back. But like, if you haven't seen RoboCop in a number of years, and like check this movie out, it's all right.
It's fine. It's well done. I mean, it's not an infuriating bullshit remake.
It's well made. It's well cast. The action is good, if a little bit relentless at times.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Good movie. Who's your MVP?
Yeah. Gary Oldman. Absolutely, Gary Oldman. I love them in this. Yeah.
He's definitely in consideration for me. I'm gonna go ahead and go with Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh, I thought you were gonna go with Keaton.
I mean, Samuel L. Jackson in this movie, he must have filmed for like 3 days. All his shit's on one set, and is performed directly to camera.
It's true.
And he's the best part of the movie. And frankly, Spike Lee's Chirac, he has like a similar role. He's like only like in one part of the city, and he's performing to camera, and he's the best part of that movie. You know what, man?
All right.
If you need like an exposition machine, just get Sam Jackson.
Yeah, well, he's got a great presence. He's got a great voice. You can't stop looking at him when he's talking. He's great.
I mean, so much more effort was done by Michael Keaton. Like, Michael Keaton is really giving a performance in this movie, but through sheer force of personality, I'm giving it to Sam Jackson. Also, it's not only that. I like that he was willing to play, like, a shitheel conservative Republican. He's basically, he's kind of playing, like, I don't know, like Steve Bannon in this fucking movie or something. I know we said O'Reilly, but like it's almost like even more. It's basically state-run television, which Fox News is, but like it's more like an like Alex Jonesy or something.
Yeah, he is. He's just completely working for that side of the aisle.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not some. Yeah, he's on the payroll. There's no doubt, and it was cool of him to take that side on a roll. Because he doesn't think any of that shit in real life, so it was cool. I
He
see
probably
it.
also got paid $1 million for less than a week of work.
That's correct. I guess we have the same LVP.
Valen.
Who's really not bad.
No, he's
just
bad.
Innocuous.
It's just he's only bad because RoboCop is a movie that's known for its great villains, and Kurtwood Smith played this role in the original perfectly as Clarence Boddicker. By the way, I was thinking, and you know how I like to flag up great character names like Bill Tench?
Oh, yeah.
Clarence Boddicker.
That's a great name.
Yeah.
I will be rewatching RoboCop, I believe, tonight when my Blu-ray gets here.
Already? You're going to rewatch it?
I want to. I'm in RoboCop mode. I want to see it.
God damn.
Well, it's got some features on it too. I want to see. I don't never seen anything about this movie. I'm excited, and it's got my unrated cut, which I'm very much looking forward to. Which Dan doesn't think is real.
Does it have a Peter Weller commentary track?
I probably won't watch any commentary tracks, honestly.
When was the last time you watched a commentary track? I think that's a good question.
Very long time.
I used to watch them all the time.
So did I, right?
There are TV shows. There are literal TV shows where I've watched the commentary track on every episode.
Yeah, man. I've done it for The Office. I've done it.
Yeah, I did it with The Office too.
Yeah, I just there's just too much now to watch that I just don't go back for the commentary. I mean, there's always the great commentary tracks I'll never forget, and I probably would watch them again on certain movies, but I don't know about TV shows. I don't know if I would do it, but
Yeah, I think it's been maybe 4 or 5 years since I've watched a commentary track, and I don't know that I ever will again.
Yeah, it's probably accurate for me. I would think. So what we got to rank these babies. I think.
It's easy to make.
Rankings. Maybe we won't. I don't know. I think we will.
I think we will too. Let's say them at the same time. Number 1, 1, 2, 3, the original.
Yes. You want to say them at the same time?
Yeah. Number 2, 1, 2, 3.
RoboCop the remake.
Yeah. Third one. 1, 2, 3. RoboCop 3.
Cop 3.
Good job.
Thank you. Okay. And
lastly 1, 2, 3. RoboCop
2. Yeah.
That's the definitive ranking of this franchise. We have landed on a definitive ranking. And if you disagree, well, that's why you're not hosting the franchise, baby.
And, it doesn't happen that much that you and I are on.
Almost never.
No, really, it doesn't. And we're every one of these movies.
That really only happens to us when it's like 2001: A Space Odyssey and like a belated sequel.
Very, very obvious, but we seem to take away everything very similarly from these movies. So,
We're simpatico, baby. You know what I have to say? Look at the franchise. RoboCop 1, 2, 3 remake. I think on the whole, as somebody who owned the RoboCop versus Terminator Sega Genesis game, the RoboCop franchise is better and more consistently watchable than the Terminator franchise.
Yeah, I mean, you got your kinks in there because of RoboCop 2, but Terminator has more kinks.
I think RoboCop 2 is a better movie than Terminator Salvation.
No, well, not to me. I like Terminator Salvation, so
it's better than Terminator Dark Fate. It's better than Terminator Genesis.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
It's better than Terminator Rise of the Machines. So that's what I'm saying. I'm saying the worst RoboCop movie to me is better than 4 of the Terminator movies.
Yeah, you are. Well, you really didn't like a lot of. I mean, I did not like those Terminator movies either, but I did really like Salvation and the first 2 T's. So I don't know. It's a tough comparison because
it's the worst franchise we've ever covered, other than Children of the Corn.
I can't go there.
It's just so long.
It's very long, but I mean, we've done the Santa Claus. We've done some terrible shit, my friend. I don't know. I'd have to look at our list.
I don't know. Santa Claus. Only the third one was like hard to watch. That's the one where Who was it? The Easter Bunny was leaving like shits everywhere.
I can't remember. Those were awful experiences for me, all three of them. Every Christmas, I'm not generally having a good time on this show.
Oh, I think you might this year, man. We're doing something fun for Christmas.
we have a little surprise for everybody.
Yeah, we have the rest of the year planned out, sons.
Yeah,
Sons.
we do, folks.
I'm so fucking stupid.
Sons and daughters.
Yeah.
So, well, next week, ladies and gentlemen, we got Shocktober.
Oh, yeah.